So while one Philadelphia Eagles player shows his true loyalty with staying with the Eagles on a short-term pay cut deal, we unfortunately allow one of our other star players to go ahead and seek a trade. So I'm going to give my thoughts on what's going on with Darius Slay, what I'm thinking it could mean, and what we could possibly get in a trade for the 32-year-old veteran. I was going to say a lot of mean things, but my girlfriend told me not to. So let's talk about it. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. Today we're going to talk about Slay. We're going to talk about my guy BG. We're going to talk about this a little bit, see what the Eagles can do in the future, what they can get back for some of their veterans. Now, before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are on the road to 5K. We would love for you guys to join that ride. We are so close. So definitely hit that subscribe, share it with a friend, you know, do all those good things. But let's get into it, man. So I want to start with Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham coming back to the Philadelphia Eagles on a one-year deal, $6 million. Now, if you do follow me on Twitter, a little pat on my back. I did say this about a week ago that I knew they were going to be working on a deal that I thought it was going to be like a 2-year deal around $11 million. I was off a little bit, but I'm cool with it. So he is back. I'm hyped to see Brandon Graham back. It helps us this year, obviously having the player, but it also helps us with our cap. He was on the cap for $9 million. Either way, if you saw the video I did yesterday, I did bring that up. He was on the cap for about $9.5 million either way. Now that he's at $6 million, that saves us about $3.5 million. So that's good in that sense, and it's obviously awesome to see Brandon Graham retire as a Philadelphia Eagle. I think all Eagles fans have nothing but love and respect for Brandon Graham, and at the end of the day, I don't think that we would have been too upset if he felt like he had to go and find his money elsewhere. But he showed that loyalty. He's an Eagle through and through. He's Philly through and through. So mad love to him. I know Detroit thought they were going to get their little greasy paws on him because he wanted to go back. Nah, Detroit. Y'all going to be stuck in purgatory for the rest of y'all lives. Now, let's get to Darius Slay, man. Darius Slay, I want to make it very clear. He didn't ask for a trade. The Philadelphia Eagles are allowing him and his team, Rosenhaus, to go ahead and find a trade. They are allowing him to seek a trade. Now, look, what does that say? It says a couple things to me. One, it says that Darius Slay probably wants more money than we're willing to give him. Two, it probably says to me that Howie Roseman really doesn't know what his value is. Maybe we are allowing this to happen so we can see what teams are willing to do as far as a contract for him, so we can maybe kind of go off that. So if somebody says, hey, we'll give him, $8 million a year, then we can go up to him and be like, listen, we'll give you $9. It'll still save us like $17 million. So I think that the Eagles are in a position that they understand they can lose Darius Slay, but I think at the same point they understand that wouldn't be the end of the world. You're losing that money. I know Eagles fans are going to be very, very nervous. You go back to the Nolan Carroll days, you go back to the Byron Williams days, you go back. It's triggering me just thinking of it. We've had some really, really bad secondaries. Losing James Bradbury and Darius Slay and possibly Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and possibly Marcus Epps. You're starting a whole new safety, a whole new secondary out there, and it gets a little worrisome. I get that. But if you look at the lay of the landscape, if you look at how many different veterans, we saw William Jackson just cut yesterday. Cam Dantzler, I think, was cut yesterday. So many very, very good players on, veterans that are getting cut this year. I said this on my Twitter, and I kind of was joking, but it's kind of true. This feels like an expansion draft. Like, all these teams are getting rid of veterans that can still play because of this cap hit. So at the end of the day, do I think that the Eagles are in a non-compete type situation where they're just going to be stuck in this spot? They're not going to be able to do anything in this offseason? I don't think that at all. I think, if anything, now we're starting to see the ball roll with that, signing of Brandon Graham, with decisions being made with Darius Slay. We'll probably hear something about Lane Johnson within the next couple days. So it's, you're starting to see the ball roll, and this is when we're going to start actually making some moves happen. I've said it before, it's going to take us figuring out our own first, and then we can go on to the free agents, maybe look at some trades and stuff like that. We are not in a terrible situation. I understand a lot of people may think that. I've seen somebody in the comments say, we're at $48 million in dead cap. We've been in worse situations, one. And two, honestly, you can dance around the cap. Like, that's one thing. The cap is such a myth. Like, this whole thing that you can't do anything because of the cap is such a myth. There's so many things that you can do as an organization to kind of work around that cap. So we all know Howie is a wizard when it comes to that cap. So I don't think we should be too worried. Now, what can we get for a Darius Slay? 32 years old. Shout out to my guy Kendall Beck. He got roasted by Darius Slay. Like, he said declining. I mean, look, he didn't have a great second half of the year. I will say that about Darius Slay. I think that he is still a very good player, still probably top 15 in this league at his position. Maybe, 11, 12, somewhere around that. You decide. I'm not going to argue over it, but he's definitely in that top 15. And honestly, it's going to suck to lose him. But what Kendall said isn't wrong. It's not wrong. At the end of the day, the Eagles have to play ball. They have to play the game. And paying a 32-year-old $26 million or something close to that in a reworked deal just isn't playing game. That's not playing ball. That's not really smart for the Eagles. So if we are to trade him, I'm assuming we'll probably get maybe at the most a third and like a mid-round pick. That's what we gave up for him, right? We gave up a third and a fifth, I believe it was. I'm assuming at the most we'll get that back. I think that the cap is really what we're looking at. That's really what we want. We want that 20-something million dollars that he's getting. So, I mean, I don't think that we're going to get a crazy haul when it comes to Darius Slay, but I do think we'll get something respectable. And I think in this draft, if we're able to get a couple mid-round picks in this draft especially, I think that would serve you well. There's a lot of cornerbacks in this draft that you can definitely pick up. Again, like I said, there's guys on the open market that you can pick up that don't even mess with that compensation formula. I know a lot of people are obsessed with compensatory picks. It doesn't even mess with that formula. So there's things that you can do if you're the Philadelphia Eagles if you have to move on from Darius Slay. Now, as a fan, do I want to see Darius Slay go? No. I don't really understand. And this is kind of more of just like me ranting. All the information is on the first half of this. This part is me just kind of talking to you guys as fans. I don't really understand the hatred that you guys show on Twitter, on social medias to some of our players when they leave, even in my comment section. Like some of the stuff that you guys say, I get it. We want to win a Super Bowl. But these guys hold zero loyalty to us. Darius Slay was not born in Philly. Okay? Like these guys were not born on Broad Street. There's no loyalty. There's no connection. At the end of the day, yes, Brandon Graham took a pay cut for us because he loves being here. And that's awesome. But to sit here and realistically think that every player is going to do that is that's just not how life works. All right. I've asked this to many people before. Are you going to take a pay cut at your job for your friends? No, I'm not. I love my coworkers. They all cool. They better get their money on their own. And that's how the NFL works. These guys understand that it is a business. There's no 401k. And I understand that when we look at it as fans, as people that don't necessarily make millions of dollars, are like, what? They make millions of dollars. What's $10 million? $10 million is a lot of money. $10 to me is a lot of money. So, I mean, look, let's just be respectful. Let's be realistic. And let's just be patient. Let's see what happens with this offseason. Everything is far from done. It just started. We just lost the Super Bowl like a month ago. So it's still very early. Let things kind of play out. It's a little bit worrisome. I give you guys that. And obviously I freaked out when we didn't get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but let it play out. Let's see what happens. Let's have some faith in Howie. And then if he screws it up by, I say by like August, we'll see if we can start hating on Howie. Then we can really see what happens. Maybe even April, because if he screws the pooch on this draft, I'm gonna have some things to say. But you guys let me know what you're thinking. How do you guys feel about this whole Darius Slay situation? How happy are you to see Brandon Graham back in Philly? But other than that, y'all guys know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly. And we are out here. Peace!
Yeah. Fly Eagles Fly. You on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season head, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.